Kevin is a Pixelmon from the Pixelmon NFT set, which just launched for over $70 million. And this is beginning to smell just like the .com bubble crash. So today, we're gonna dive deep. Are NFTs in this phase? Are they about to crash? Are they dead? And I think the answer that you're gonna receive today actually might surprise you. With that said, like this video, it helps the video in the YouTube algorithm. Let's jump right on in. Alright, Dan Brock, the deadbeat millionaire, and if you've ever FOMO'd into any kind of investment and lost lots of money by doing so, comment below. What was that investment? Share it, I love to see it so we can revel in each other's misery. Personally, my worst was a investment in a Russian scam NFT, more on that later. Okay, so NFTs are going absolutely berserk. We just saw the example of one launching literally for $70 million mint price, but here are some other examples that are really taking the internet by storm right now, like Wonder Pals. Wonder Pals launched on launch day, did over $10 million in sales. This was roughly just last week, so it is hot. The second one is, take a look at this. This is, you degens are just out of control. The Kevin NFT I showed you is kind of like almost a meme of how bad the NFT space is going, and some whack job went out there and made a separate NFT for this called Kevin Punks. It's done a lot of money. It has done a lot of money. Some of these I think it peaked at over 2 Ethereum on a single day. For Kevin Punks, I absolutely love it. So is this sustainable? Let's take a look at some graphs, because it makes me seem smart and I actually know what I'm doing, which by the way, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm a guy in a bathrobe. Anything I say here is not investment advice. It's just for entertainment purposes only. So at the graph here, we saw last month, we had incredible volume on OpenSeas, and we can see that it has dropped quite a bit. And I think based off the trends that I've seen, that we might be coming in somewhere along this line in the month of March. Okay, I could be completely wrong, but this is what it feels like from what I've seen comparing the energy in the space. Going deeper, let's take a look at Google Trends. So we did have a bottom out in summer. If you guys were around back then, you do know this July month was actually pretty dull, but we saw the hype really cascade and escalate up to the heights, which were the end of January. So the beginning of January it started to take off, but right now in the month of March, we are starting to see a massive decline in interest in NFTs. Now, I think there's a twofold force coming along here. First of all, tax season is now over, so people have got their money, they've invested their extra cash back into the market. So I think that's really taken a lot of hype out of it. But the biggest thing I think is because of the Ukrainian war. So what's been happening is a lot of people in Russia have been actually taking their money out of the ruble and they've been putting it into Ethereum and Bitcoin. So this is causing the price of Ethereum to go up, and because of that, NFTs typically are depressed whenever the price of Ethereum goes up. So I actually think this is going to continue to happen. This is just what I think, again, just my opinion, that Ethereum is going to increase in value because we are starting to see that crypto may possibly be acting as a safe haven asset when things are uncertain. That's yet to be proven, but it does appear to be the case. The biggest thing though is the uncertainty of the war. We don't know if this is going to escalate further, how long it's going to drag on, and because of that, it is creating fear in the market. So people are selling off their NFTs. NFTs are considered a luxury, and let's face it, if you're faced between putting food in your pockets or food in your mouth or paying rent, whatever the saying is, you're gonna pick that off of your stupid JPEG image. So these are the first things that get sold off in uncertain times or when people are really strapped for cash. As cliche as it sounds, these degens are just out of control. Like literally I see this every single day, people bragging about how the majority of their net worth is in JPEGs alone. They have like maybe $1,000 in the bank account, they're in debt, they have huge massive debts, but yet they have millions of dollars worth of JPEGs. So if this is not irrational exuberance, I don't know what is. I have found that a lot of people investing in NFTs are mostly gambling, or they're the gambler type. NFT people are just freaking crazy, okay? When those people realize like, oh man, I got $500 in my bank account, yet I have $1 million in NFTs, it's not looking good, they are going to sell. Anyway, I digress. This has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. Let's take an even deeper look. So here is Mutant Apes. I was luckily able to catch the top of the market here in the Mutant Ape run up. I called it roughly around, I sold for 25 Ethereum right at the top. We're sitting at 17 ETH. Voice just cracked, I'm still going through puberty. So we sold it for it's right now sitting at 17 ETH. I still think that it is going to go lower. up until the coin launch, and we might actually see a big drop, but I do think this is going to dip further. And the Mutant Apes, the Bored Ape Yacht Club, is considered the blue chip NFT of the space. And we can see here that it is also dropping. It's also being affected by these macroeconomic forces. Whew, that sounded really smart right there. Okay, the other one is so corny. So the other one is Cool Cats. So the Cool Cats did really well. End of January, it peaked at almost 17 Ethereum, and now we're down to 7 ETH. This is not the average price. Average price 17 ETH, so the floor is probably sitting around at that point probably 14, 13, or 14. It is cut in half. Again, Cool Cat's considered another top tier blue chip NFT. It has dropped dramatically since. Especially over the last week or so because of the war. We can see that big solid dip right here. And World of Women, I sold at 1.5 ETH, ask me anything. So we also can see that decent downward trend right here. It's actually not as affected as the others. So actually World of Women might be this is actually a solid collection, but we still are also seeing that slight depress because of the war here. And I know this, looking at graphs gets a bit boring, but hold with me. We're cooking with gas here. We're going to talk about why this is important in just a second. Let's take another look at actual art. Okay, so XCopy, one of the top artists in the space, even his work is getting affected here because of the decline. We see here the Guzzler piece. Someone bought that, sold that for 4 Ethereum. What a steal. Now, of course, not every collection is in this state. Like, for example, the Threelanders. Threelanders here, this just minted last week. I was looking at buying in right here, but I missed the actual mint, so it was a little bit salty. I should have bought in, though. I was going to buy 2. It was 0.6, but it's tripled since then. So you can see here there is actually some decent opportunity left in the market. We'll talk specifically about these collections in just a second and what you can do with these ones, because not every collection is affected by the market on whole. So here's what I think. Just going on Twitter here, there's a stupid phrase called WGMI. It's called "We're all gonna make it." WGMI. Everyone touts this off. Oh, WGMI, bro. I don't know. Maybe everyone's over optimistic. Maybe I'm just pessimistic. But to me, the NFT space is a zero-sum game. It's the land of the jungle. Someone eats, someone has famine. So there's winners and losers. Not everyone is gonna make it, and I think that's the worst mindset that you can go into. What I mean by that is, with that knowledge, just look at the price of your NFTs in USD and US dollars. That's what I do. I just look at the price in US dollars, and if that price is significant, I'm selling it and I'm collecting the cash. I'm a little bit more practical. It's served me well because I have profited really well in NFTs. But the general point I'm trying to make here is not everyone's going to make it. For example, if I buy an NFT for 2 Ethereum off of someone, and then the next day it drops to 1 Ethereum, I've essentially lost when I sell that NFT. Now, of course, this doesn't apply to me because I win every single time. But for beginners and flippers, this is actually a common occurrence, especially for people that are new to the game. So what I'm going at with this is that as more people flood into the market and as these losses accumulate, these people are unlikely to come back into the market. What we're seeing here is based off this graph, flipping back, I think the peak phase, that gold rush phase, is at least during this time, we've now passed that. Now, mixed with the fear of the war, I think we are continuing that downtrend, and this causes pain in the marketplace. Now, obviously, the NFT space is still relatively new, so I think from a long-term perspective, we still have a lot of growth to hit, but right now in the short term, I believe it's getting beaten down, and this is probably going to continue into the summer, at least in my opinion. Now, mix that with the fact that more sets are getting created every single day, like hitting over at Rarity Tools right now, literally today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 sets on Rarity Tools alone, and everyone's kind of copying off of everyone. So all the 30 collections, they basically look the same. They're the same utility. It's basically you get your 3D collection, you get your token, and you get your land. Everyone's doing that, and because of that, this is starting to get played out. But all is not lost. So just like back in the dot-com bubble, actual useful stuff is being built behind the scenes here. There are going to be new utilities, new pieces, new collections that are going to succeed. So as people leave the market, so as the beginners and as all the flippers bust out, the people that truly believe in the space, that number is going to continue to grow. Now, if you've ever been to any NFT events, I went to NFT NYC. The people in it are actually very invested into it. It's insane. Like, I've never seen this. People's identities are literally tied up into their avatars and the community at large. This is one of the stickiest communities that I've seen. And that just reminded me, like, check this out. Some guy had tattoos, crypto Maury's tattooed on his hand. Like, this is crazy. Literally, people, this is how crazy people are in the space. Like, people are getting, it's probably his jerk off hand too. So he's looking at that thing. I don't know. I'm not allowed to say that. So this is, people are literally getting these NFTs tattooed onto their hands. It's crazy. I saw another one that was even worse than that. Poor guy. So he got one on his left and one on his right. Dueling crypto Maury NFTs. So I've seen so many pictures of people doing this. So what can you do in the meantime while we wait for the hype to settle and everyone kind of exits the market? So I have been noticing that a lot of the YouTube influencer favored mints. I don't even know what that means. The mints that people on YouTube are kind of promoting, these are actually doing pretty well. So perfect example was Dippies. Let me show you this. I found this off of YouTube. Dippies the other day it settled around 0.2 Ethereum after people minted their Dippies, and now it's almost at 0.4. So there are, just scour YouTube. I'm actually gonna be creating some more videos about what are like the upcoming mints to look for. But if you can get in for a mint, 0.2 Ethereum, this is a lower risk play, especially if you're new to the game. You can just dabble in it and get into 2 or 3 projects this way. We'll talk about looking at what the meta is for the art, but the key is to understand what the current meta is. So by meta, it took me forever to figure out what this means, but the meta is basically like, when you're really into the space, there is a certain style of NFT that is going to do well during that week, or even over a course of 3 or 4 days. There's a specific style of art. So if you learn to identify what the hot thing is that week and put your investments towards those kind of like it factor NFTs, that can benefit you greatly if you do it the right way. So we'll be releasing more content about like what the hot trend is of the week, so you can figure that out as well. Now, another option for you is to actually check out some historic NFTs. So I believe that historic NFTs like curio cards, I just picked up a couple of these over the last 2 weeks. They've been holding pretty good at 0.4 Ethereum average. I think that because this has such history, this is, if I'm not mistaken, the first NFT that was ever made on Ethereum, the first NFT set that was ever made on Ethereum. I believe that these will hold nostalgic historic value over the long term. So yes, this might decrease a little bit, but at least you know that the money that you've invested, if you just dabble in this, might actually pay off at least to some extent, or you won't at least, and again, not financial advice, red robe, don't know what I'm doing. This will at least won't dip much comparatively. And the third option for you is just wait a little bit longer. Specifically, if mutants ever dip to 13 Ethereum or so, it might be a great time to get back in. I personally will, if I see it around that 0.12, 13 Ethereum pre-coin release. Okay, usually when an NFT set releases its coin, its token, it typically sees a drop after the hype dies out. But if we can get there, which could be, they're rumored to drop soon, but if it does drop lower for any reason, I might swing in and pick up another one. But my overall advice is to be as conservative as possible with your Ethereum. I do believe that it is going to increase over as long as the uncertainty of the war goes up. And just in general, Ethereum is a very useful utility. So this, it makes sense to hold on to it if you can. Don't be the person that keeps all their Ethereum, their net worth in NFTs. Okay, like this video if you found value in it, and also check out my most recent video. It is right here. Keep an eye out. It is nap time.